January 4th. My goodness gracious. If you guys can hear me, go ahead and type in what city you are watching this from so we can get things rolling here today. That way I know you're paying attention and you guys can hear me and my audio is good to go. Happy New Year in San Fran. Let's see. Hawaii, love it. Oklahoma, Rochester. We got Jacksonville, San Clemente, Brisbane, North Palm Beach, Kansas. Chris, good to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well, man. Give me a shout sometime soon. Let's catch up sometime soon. No, I cannot say that. Let's see. Lao Pa Hoe Ho. I don't know if I said that one right. Saskatoon. Terry, you know what's crazy is I actually know somebody that has played golf or golf that had played professional hockey from in Saskatoon. That's where he got his start at. We got West Palm, Hong Kong, the Shetland Isles. Edwin, you did not need to stay up, my friend. I am surprised. Sorry I didn't respond here. Was dealing with we were dealing with some other issues today this morning and it was just crazy and I didn't have time to respond, but at least I'll let you know when that's up and where to find those the recordings and stuff like that in the future. But guys, I'm excited to be here, right? We got a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about here this evening, a lot of things I'm going to go through. I'm going to be showing you guys some new tools that I have access to that I'm going to be sharing with you guys as well. And I am definitely excited to jump into everything that we have. Haven't traded in a week. All right, you're itching, right? You're itching for it. You're already behind. You know, I actually was listening to something here today. Is that there's like two types of individuals in this world. There are those people that are constantly feeling like they are behind. Like I'm one of those human beings. Like I wake up and I feel like I haven't accomplished enough, and then I go to bed and I think I still have so much more to do, and then I'm just in a perpetual state of catch up. But I never look at like, hey, this is what I actually did for this week, or this is what I did this month. That's why, like, when I talk trades that I win and they're big wins, I don't even like really care. I just goes on to the next one. I'm one, I need to learn to celebrate the small stuff and the wins, just a win, right? Like I'm just like a person that's like, oh, okay, cool, that happened, great. And then there's the other type of people. They need somebody constantly yelling at them that they're not doing enough. Their life is out of sorts. They need to get stuff together, and they are wasting a lot of time. And I just think that that's interesting. How that's like the two groups, the two biggest groups there are in this world. So you're not alone there, Gary. You're not alone. I'm right there with you. Okay, so I think I placed maybe one or two trades this month, this year so far. Really quickly before we jump into everything, I have to disclaim the disclaimer. One, you have to know trading has risk, understand that risk, take on that risk, things like that. Second, I am not here today acting in my capacity as a licensed financial professional. I'm simply sharing opportunity. If you decide to take that opportunity, that's all up to you. And let's see, do I live to work or work to live? It's funny. It doesn't feel like work. That's something like I truly like. When I tell you I love what I do, I really love what I do. Right? I do three big things all in one area, right? Is in finance. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm in the trading and trading education space, right? I host presentations. I teach people how to trade. I host soon enough, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. This is going to look pretty slick, hopefully, to y'all. We're going to be having a newsletter drop, and I want everybody in here to make sure, right? Make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the newsletter when it comes out. It's not out yet, but this is what it's going to be called, the Wealth Watch. For those that don't know, I am a little bit of obsessed with watches. Like I've always been obsessed with watches since I noticed my grandfather's Timex when I was really, really little. And I had a Mickey Mouse Timex when I was little. And I've just been obsessed with horology, and which is the study of watches and watchmaking and all of that, and watches. So that's a little play on me there. But so I have the trading education experience, and then I also own a retirement and estate planning company. And let me just give you a brief on what I do there, right? What I do there is really, really simple. It is my goal and my team's goal. I have about 25 agents now. Our goal is to help you guys optimize retirement, help you guys retire tax free, help you guys pass on wealth tax free, help you guys use the things that the upper echelons of wealth holders use in order to insulate them from tax liabilities and also make amazing returns while you're at it. 14 to 16% a year is nothing to sneeze at. And then on top of that, having risk-free investments, meaning literally, I can say that I can guarantee you will never lose when you invest with me, as well as I can say that your profits will always be locked in on a monthly basis. And that's something that I do. And if you ever want to find out more information on that, if you want to type in me right now, and I'll just screenshot that and I'll use that. And then I also co-founded a managed fund. So what we do with that is we do individually managed accounts. We have minimums that we adhere to. Finish the year right at like 29%. Another year, another crush of the S&P. 2 years ago was 40%. Last year, 37. This year was 30. Excited for what this year has to bring. And we're going to really take a deep dive into that. And Doug, Brandon, Chris, fantastic. I'll definitely be reaching out to you guys and anybody else. Like if you're ever interested in just, look, I do this for people. The first thing I do, and I'll actually show you guys, is I say, hey, let's talk about your retirement. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going well, what's not going well. And I'm going to show you guys one of the things that I found. And this was a family member's portfolio. Okay. This was a third of their portfolio. Now, let me just say that I can say some serious curse words here, and I'm trying not to with this because every time I look at it, it just ticks me off. So this was inherited from their grandmother who passed away, or their mother who passed away, okay? And they owned literally over 234 stocks where they had less than 25 shares of. 235 stocks that they had less than 25 shares of. All that does is generate a commission for the advisor that was managing this guy's mother's retirement. That's it. That's all it did. I do stuff commission free. I do an analysis. We analyze what you got going. If everything's perfect, I say, hey, great. Don't change nothing. If there's improvements, I'll show you the improvements. If you like them, you take them. If you don't like them, you don't take them. And I still love you and you still love me. Okay. I still love you and you still love me. So if you guys want to talk about that, just type in the word me. We'll talk about, I'll set it up and I'll send you guys links and we can book some times. All right, Aaron, I told you it wasn't the worst that I saw. So I will make sure to screenshot this and get you guys and set up some appointments with you guys. Lastly, I'm proud to say, folks, it is on to the dissertation. We are full steam ahead. Classes are behind me. My initial capstone class, or my capstone class, went phenomenal. So now it's just all dissertation and study from there. So that phase is done. Also celebrated our 7th wedding anniversary January 1st. And then in 2 weeks, I will be 40 years old. Gee, I did not know that I would ever be here. Couple of housekeeping items. With that, we're not going to have any sessions on January 11th, 2026. I'm going to be out of state, and I think my parents and my brother-in-law is getting. Or sorry, brother-in-law. My brother is who just graduated college. He'll be getting engaged that weekend, and it's my birthday, and so we're all going to do big dinner or something like that. So I just don't know what time I'd be home. I don't like to have too many unknowns. So no sessions on the 11th, but we will resume for the rest of the year. Shouldn't have any other major interruptions. The other thing is thank you guys so much for the well wishes and the congratulations and all that. So I do appreciate all that. The other thing is we have our Discord channel. Okay. Now our Discord channel is just growing, growing, growing. I love Stu's interaction with talking about Fang and the Mag 7 and the Batman stocks, as they call them. And talking about the kind of rebalances and all sorts of different things and studying modern portfolio theory. Modern portfolio theory is actually part of my dissertation. So I know more about that. I've read more articles about MPT than I could shake a stick at. And let's see. I used to calculate the capital asset pricing model by hand as well. So I can do that and we can talk that stuff. But we have traders that share their trades, they share their setups. This is a place where you guys can ask questions and you can do things and get feedback and stuff like that. So make sure you guys join it. Now, this link, I'm letting you know, it's good for 7 days. Okay. The link is only good for 7 days. So join it now. So you don't have to wait and or the link expires or something. Go ahead and feel free, join it. I also will post the recordings of the link to the recordings of this session up here as well when I do record them, and the recording works. That's the other side of things, right? So there's the Discord. Feel free to join. It looks like we got a couple of people in here joining. Fantastic. Now let's get into the fundamental news announcements for this week. January 5th, we have manufacturing PMI. January 7th, we have ADP non-farm payroll, as well as services PMI. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, PMI, right, is the producer manager index, manufacturing PMI. What am I thinking of? Oh my goodness, guys! I've been up since 3:30. Had to take the wife to the ER today. Crazy day. She's okay. She's okay, but so no worries there. But it's just been my brain is not fully there here today. And Jerry, you'll be happy to know I'm even lowering the caffeine even more. Purchasing managers index. Okay. Purchasing managers index. Okay. Let's see. That's what PMI is. It's a great precursor to inflation, right? If it costs more to produce a good or a service, then we know that the cost of that good or service will go up. Right? If the cost of a good or service, then that we know the cost of that good or service will go up. Then additionally, we have JOLTS job openings that day. The 8th, we have unemployment claims. And the 9th, we are back on track getting accurate. Well, not, I can't say accurate, but I shouldn't say accurate. I should say within the on-time delivery of non-farm payroll, right? The on-time delivery of non-farm payroll. Sharon said steady. I love that one, Sharon. Yes, steady non-farm payroll, right? It shouldn't be to, this, that, the other. This, that, it shouldn't be like October's numbers in December and November's numbers at the end of November and, all sorts of crazy stuff. So we're back on track with non-farm payroll. And then we also have consumer and inflation sentiment coming out on the 9th as well. earnings wise this week, we do have a few companies reporting. We have Constellation going to be reporting on the 7th. Tilray, and I'm going to briefly talk about Tilray right here. As you may or may not know, President Trump signed an executive order to reclassify marijuana, and Tilray is the largest I guess distributor, manufacturer. I mean, they do so many different things and they own so many different sides. They have their hands in so many different areas of the business that Tilray could stand to benefit from this as well. So it's kind of funny, I think it was early December. I had said, look, guys, Tilray, I was in there. Did the analysis on it. I said, look, it's $1.90 or so. I don't really care. I don't mind the risk on losing $1.90 a share, even at 100 or 200 or 500 shares. I ended up buying, I think, like 250 shares. They did a reverse split, so I have less shares at a higher price. And who knows, right? This reclassification that kicked off this year, what is that going to do? What future value does that bring to a company like there? It was a great meme stock years ago. That you are correct. And then they bought other companies as well. And like I've really broken down the company from just a meme stock to what value could it bring, and what could their capital inflows look like if this rescheduling happens, and even eventually paving the road for federal legalization, which would just have with taxes, of course, which had a massive impact, I think, in the U.S. Lastly, on Friday, which is a rare thing to get earnings Friday, we have Delta that's going to be reporting as well. So that is it for there. Now, before we jump into charts, obviously we're going to talk news. Yes, we're going to talk the Maduro arrest, and do you call that a seize? I don't know. He's in jail. We'll call it arrest, right? Oh yes. Here is the earnings picture. Give me 1 second. I'll jump back to it. So we'll call that arrest for now. And then also the statement of what is meant behind, we're going to run that country and we're going to sell their oil, and we get profits from that, as well as I'm interested to know. And can I just tell y'all, have you ever seen like TV shows that later on they play out in like real life? Yes or no? Have you all ever seen that? Give me a second here. So there is a TV show called Jack Ryan. It's on Amazon Prime. Okay. One of the things he does is go lecture. There is a scene where he asks, like, what's the biggest threat to the world? And he responds with Venezuela. And guys, it is the craziest thing ever to see this. This came out like 2 years ago, and then 2 years later, it plays out. Okay. Yeah, it is. It is absolutely why the 1984. Right. Hey, maybe, I don't know. Right. Maybe that's where we got it. It was said maybe Trump watched that. Who knows? But it's true. Like, you go in and you look at the amount of gold they have, the amount of oil they have, the amount of all. And now we have a main line into that. So this will be interesting to see. We are going to talk about this a little bit and how it affects oil and how it affects gold and other things that may happen from it. We'll talk Bitcoin because we're seeing Bitcoin up right now. And we'll talk a few others as well. But the first thing I want to talk about is GDP. Now, we didn't get to have this meeting, but when the GDP numbers they were a quite a sticker shock at 4 point something percent, right? At 4 point something percent, which is it's it was just, kind of a shock. Well, for those of you that don't know, GDP is an equation. And if you guys want to screenshot this, go ahead and screenshot this while I'm talking about it. And but I am going to draw all over this just so you know. So it stands for GDP is C plus I plus G plus XM, right? C is consumption. I is investment. G is government spending. And X minus M is net exports. Okay. Now, when you take this equation and you break it down, and I'm just going to go to a white space on charts. And let me write out the equation. GDP equals C plus I plus G plus XM. Okay. If we are looking at GDP and it is up, well, what some people do is they just stop there. They just look at the high level number and they stop there. What I like to do is I like to break down and say, okay, where did we have this, right? This was flat to down, actually. This was way up. This was flat to down. We haven't had, or flat, right? Maybe slightly up. Like it was a little, let's actually go back there. This was slightly up. Like in the grand scheme of things, a lot of the money that is promised hasn't come. So therefore, we can't say that uh, right. So we can't say that, investment is up when the money isn't in, right? The investment. It's not like, it's a lot like you saying, hey, man, I planned to buy Nvidia when it was like a $12 stock. Well, planning to do it didn't do you any good, did it? Right. So planning to say that you got an foreign direct investment is good, but when the check clears, that's when we have the investment. Right. Now, then the last part is consumption. Now, consumption was way up. But here's where we get another, we got to peel back that onion another layer deeper. And why I say that is because consumption, right? 2/3 of all consumption is healthcare. And we know that healthcare has risen tremendously. Pharmaceutical drugs are getting some are getting less expensive. Some are getting, still as expensive. And I talked to, I don't know if I told the story. Yeah, I did, about CRISPR a couple of weeks ago. So we see CRISPR and drugs that are being manufactured that are now costing over $1 million for one treatment. But all you need is one treatment. And that's because, they're tackling and curing disease with that single treatment. And they're actually fixing part of someone's genome when they're curing like a disease like SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, in children, and allowing them to have full lives, which is great. But it's $1 million. Where does that money come from? It's just crazy. Now, the other side of this is what's called the turnover ratio. Okay. Now, sometimes it's called quick ratio as well, but it's basically how much inventory are we selling through, right? How much inventory are we selling through? One of the interesting things is that the turnover ratio is actually down. So consumption is up, but we're not selling as many goods. Now you tell me, what would cause more money to be in consumption, but we're not consuming as many goods? What do you think changed there? Inflation, prices, cost. Absolutely. Right? That's the big deal. And so that GDP number While it is great, I take nothing away from that. It was great. When you break it down and you look, it isn't sustainable because if we have another 30% rise in cost of goods, we don't have another $750 billion in available credit card debt per person, in the US to be able to substantiate that buying. Yes, that is the amount of credit card debt that has increased over the last 5 years. $750 billion, right? $750 billion has what credit card increased over the last 5 years. It's insane what happened there, right? So when we get into that, that affects obviously the economy and various other things. So that's the kind of thing I wanted to just lead with because we didn't get a chance to talk about that. Any questions about GDP or anything like that? Yes or no? Now, that's also why you didn't see a crazy spike when that GDP number came out, right? We didn't see a crazy spike when that GDP number came out. So we'll talk oil in a second. We'll talk gold in a second. Tariffs. We actually had a pause on certain tariffs on generally what's called like the pass through economy around housing. So couches and furniture and um, durable goods like appliances and things. Those tariffs got paused. Tariff rate was about 14.1%, about half of the official rate due to exemptions from certain countries and industries last year. That's really interesting to see. EU to ramp up enforcement of digital rule book, targeting Apple, Google, and Meta and X. And that would probably, when you target American companies like that, we're probably going to see some more back and forth there. Um, let's see. And then open Tesla, they had less than expected and less than ideal number of deliveries this year. Obviously, manufacturing tariffs, all sorts of things created issue there. And then let's see. And now we have Greg Abel at the helm of Berkshire Hathaway. We also had a major purchase and acquisition for Boeing from the government for new planes. So we're going to take a look at a few of those here today. Stocks that I know that we're going to look at here. Yes, we'll look at AVGO. And I know a couple others that we want to look at. Priyanka, if you want to type in the ones that you like to look at all the time, we'll look at those. We'll look at Oracle. We're going to look at Boeing. We're going to look at Tesla, pound yen again this week. And anybody else? Anybody else want to type in anything they want to look at? HYMC. Micron. TSM, SMCI. CAD Swiss. Okay, cool. And I think that should be enough. Apple. FLNC. MNQ. Or NQ. We'll just do the NQ. And Google. Okay. So, couple of things also, just so you know, I am going to be using this as well. For those of you guys in here that don't know, this is what is known as the Extreme Market Energy Dashboard. Now, this is a really, really amazing tool. So, what it does is it divides the market into active surges, so stocks that are actively moving and moving quickly, hour surges where you're getting a couple of two time frames on the daily and the weekly if it's the end of day, and if it's the intraday, the 3 5 15. If we get a power surge there, we're getting at least two time frames showing the same direction. And then a super surge is when all three time frames are aligning, right, with a specific indicator called the extreme market energy. Now, this tool, guys, I've been using it for a number of weeks. I was part of the development team on it, and I am absolutely loving what I'm seeing. So we're going to talk a little bit about this tool here today, and I'm going to be using it. It's just going to be off on another screen, and I'll be doing a webinar on it sometime this week. And I'll post in the Discord when I'm doing it. So if you guys want to learn about it, we can. Okay. So let's jump into a couple of the stocks that we talked about very early on. One being Lululemon. Okay. So Lululemon, the other thing, guys, I will tell you is this indicator. This is the extreme market energy indicator. Nobody has it except there are three people in the world that have it: myself, Tad Devan, and Mark. That's it. And that's who's all getting it, because there is so much work that went into this in development wise that we're not sharing it out yet. Okay. I don't know if it ever will be, but hey. So our first trade was from 166.24 to 205.66. That's where we got out. The market actually ran up on this to 226. Now we've seen a little bit of a pullback. We've had some great buying energy and extreme energy here. We're still looking for this for a buy, but honestly, I think, waiting on a pullback isn't a bad idea here. We had our next fib here. We did get a 382 pullback, and so 234.43 is the ultimate push up. I'm going to still call this a hold right now. If we do get, and let me actually do one thing really quickly. I wonder if I can open it. Nope, got to do it here. So this is a seasonality chart that you can show, that I'm going to show you guys here. And it does it by year. I can do it by percent, or I can do it by price. Doesn't really matter. But I can also have the average on there, right? And if I want to turn some of these off, I can, but I'm going to just leave them on right now. So when I was looking at this for earlier today on the S&P 500, and I'm going to back this up from 1993 to today, okay? And we look at the average, and regular, we can go percent. Now, this shows me all sorts of stuff, but the black line is my average. Notice every single one of these, the year starts off with a negative couple of weeks, down about 7%. And then we kind of just go flat for a little bit. And then we, mid-year, that's when we begin to start rallying. And this is like the day by day. So January 2nd. So right here, we should potentially start to see a little bit of a pickup here. And if you want like table data, we can do that as well. And you can see, on average, pretty flat January. So look for that down surge and then the rally in this month. Okay. Gary, that is very odd because so many people joined already. I'm going to send you that link again privately. Maybe you missed a letter when you copied it or something. There you go. That's the Discord link. And anybody else who needs it, here's the Discord link just in case if you didn't get a chance to join it. There you go. So, going back to Lululemon, let me go LULU. If we look here, all year down. First quarter, more likely down. I'm okay with it being down. If I go back to 2007 and I look at the data, guess what? On average, down about 0.32%. Well, if we go and we go back to our chart, we have a gap here between 188 and 198. So we got a $10 gap within there. If this falls and falls down and fills this gap, that is a great buying opportunity. Okay. That is a great buying opportunity, but in this area. Does that make sense? Is everybody there with that? Yes or no? Any questions around Lululemon? Okay, good. So around 188 to 198, Deborah, 188 to 198. So let's go now to let's take a look at AVGO. So if we look at AVGO, right, we just got to buy blue dot buy, but we're in the sell zone on the daily. Still looking at a potential rally to go back up. AVGO, we had a massive run up, but we created gaps here, right? We have one at 308, and we still have a gap now at 394. And we're looking at this and saying, hey, we might get a fill in this gap here. If we look at our down AV fibs, right, this goes from up here. If it filled that gap at 394, we would look to fall to 296, which guess what? If we fell to 296, would fill this gap that we have down here. So this kind of ties in together. So perhaps we should see that short-term rally using this fib tool that tells me that, hey, my next target on AVGO is 372. But again, I don't have that extreme energy to buy yet. It's still kind of flat. If we see a change in this, but in the early week, we'll look for buying opportunity. Let's go Melly. ELI. And again, this is still showing bearish opportunity, still showing bearish extreme energy. Still, it will more than likely, we're still looking for this thing to fulfill this Fibonacci D extension. 1848.72 is where we're looking. And if we let's look at the seasonality of this as well. Seasonal. Let's give us all the years and the average table. Generally get a 1% up, but 2008, 9, and 10 down double-digit percents. Last year down 2%, or this year already down 2% on the month. But generally, bullish years were there for a number of years, but I see patterns here, and I definitely could see this thing continuing to push down into this week. 11% is where the average down would be in the week. So that's something that we need to be considerate of. That's a 100-point drop, 30-point drop there for this to fulfill this D extension. And we have market energy tying it, and we have hedge fund trenders telling us to sell. So I'm not looking for that buy at all. We did that. Let's go Oracle. ORCL. Oracle lost about, what were we at peak here? 345. I think it's like 20 something percent drop in Oracle. And the drop is still dropping, which is not great to say, but it's the reality of the situation. And 137.39, which would fill this last gap here, is where Oracle may fall down to. We're not, yes, we got a little bit of bullish reprieve towards the end of the year, but we're still seeing extreme energy telling us to sell, right? Still seeing extreme energy telling us to sell. I want to take a quick gander at gold futures. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Venezuela, I think, is like the largest gold mine and gold reserve in the world that we'll have access to.
I still see a massive surge opportunity on gold. We're seeing it now. As a matter of fact, take a look at this. Gold, we had this surge that came to us. I just updated this, but this was earlier today. I was on about 5 o'clock right when the market opened, and we had a super surge on gold at 5 o'clock today when the market opened. And there is 4 o'clock. There is 6 o'clock right when market open, and bam, you see this huge super surge here. Um, is this going to continue up? More than likely. Why? Because markets don't like uncertainty. They don't know what the market doesn't know what he means by by what the president means by we're gonna run Venezuela. The market also has some, you know, fears, right? Anytime anything weird happens, let me just say it this way, right? Let me just say this. Anytime anything weird happens, the market doesn't like it. Okay. Like the tariffs in February, didn't like it. Hey, we're going to put our money somewhere safe. And that's what we see. We see a lot of big money moving into gold and silver because of opportunity. Silver was another one we had a triple surge on as well, super surge on. That's all from the dashboard that we have. And, you know, again, guys, I'm going to be showcasing it in a webinar this week. So definitely join if you can. But buying opportunity, I mean, just today, you know, just today's buying opportunity was pretty darn good. What was that? I was showing somebody this earlier about why you should trade silver. Today you would have already been up $9,125. It's not too shabby. Paul, no problem at all, buddy. Nope, we haven't looked at Zoom yet, Ron. So we're gonna we can run through Zoom really quickly. Zoom again. Let's look at the daily. It is pulling back. It is, guys. This is the same range bound thing, right? This was not a short term trade. This is a long term trade. If you want to get out of it, that I'm totally okay with it, right? I'm totally okay with it. And if you want to get out, that's fine. I'm looking at this. I'm holding this until it's like $200 again. I'm not worried about it. A-okay. If I were to trade options on it, I'd be buying leaps. I wouldn't be buying monthlies because this thing is just, it's been range bound for 5 years. Eventually, it's going to break out from this range. We have earnings coming out all the way in March for this. So we got time on those earnings. If I'm looking at my kind of fibs here, you can see we have some good Fibonacci opportunity. So we had a pullback there, rally up. 97.84 is our target price on this. I'm not too worried about it, but that's what we're looking for. So give me 1 second. All right, let's go back to our list here. Let's take a look at Boeing. I know Boeing is going to be surging because of that, big opportunity and government contract here. That is that's this is why. And I love this statement. I said this a number of years ago, and I still live by this to this day, which is that fundamentals give the market direction and technicals give it a destination. Prior to that fundamental announcement, everything showed Boeing should continue to fall. Then we get a fundamental announcement that, hey, the government has a $7 or $6 billion, check coming to Boeing for some airplanes. Bam, that thing shot off better than its own Starship did. Sorry to be punny there, but it's the truth. Boeing hit its de-extension here, so maybe a little bit of a pullback before it takes its next rally up. Boeing is still in that, not in the space that it was in at the height of last of 2019 when they announced their space program and all of that, and then just failing plane, and just hasn't really recovered to the heights that you would want to see. But hey, we're going to see it happen sooner rather than later. That market energy, extreme energy, was showing us that great buying opportunity, and that's what we still see. um War is good for Boeing. Yes, it definitely is. Let's go Tesla with that miss, right? It didn't really concern Elon too much with the big miss. He talked about it. He told everybody on his prior earnings call, that there would be a miss. And look, it dropped, right? Hedge fund trender gave us a selling opportunity at 459, sitting at 438. Could have bought with hedge fund trender options. Could have bought some options. A contract there at 459 down to 438. That's a great option trade as well. I still am bullish Tesla. I mean, the future is not just in vehicles, it's also in automated vehicles, it's in robots, it's in so many different things. So that's where we're going. Which, speaking of, let me bring this up. Hold on a second. I forgot that I wanted to share this with you guys. Take a look at this headline. China deploys humanoid robots at Vietnam border crossing. Folks, that to me, just wants to let you guys know, okay? That to me, just want to let you know, is means that Terminator was based on a true story. Just letting you guys know, okay? We got Skynet now in Starlink, and we now have robots that are Centurion robots at a border crossing in the world, right? We got iRobot, we got all sorts of stuff, right? So, I mean, goodness great. This is it. I mean, hey, it is what it is. So, yes, Starlink did grow to more than 9.25 million active users and customers. I'll tell you guys, one of the most incredible Starlink things, one of the most incredible Starlink things I've ever seen is so my godfather is a retired Marine pilot. My dad is a retired Marine avionics officer. I grew up on military air stations, so I still have some friends and family that are pilots and stuff. And a buddy of mine was telling me that they took a F-16 out at Beaufort, South Carolina, and they strapped a Starlink satellite to it to test its military connection to a jet. And they let it run Mach 1, Mach 2, whatever its top speed was at the time. I couldn't remember what top speed was, but the connection stayed stable. The only time it didn't is if the plane inverted, then it did not stay stable. Every other move, it had full connection, which is insane, right? That is like insane. Jerry, I wish it wasn't. It is corroborated by like 15 different stores. So it's 15 different organizations, and it's not just one. So, so looks like a mod for terracotta soldiers. That's hilarious. Is Starlink easy to use? Yes. It's an easy to set up deal. My dad actually used it. So my dad, my biological father, he's a 100 and some percent disabled vet. He had his heel explode when he was saving a kid's life. And he now, they live in their house is in North Carolina. Him and his current wife. I don't know how many days a year they stay at their house, because every time I talk to him, he's got a camper that he can pull his motorcycle into and haul anywhere he wants to go. And they just go around the country and they, go see sites and do things like they should be doing, honestly. If he worked twice, and look, he would laugh if I said this, so I can say this. If my dad worked twice as hard, he'd still be lazy right now. Okay. Starlink, but my dad uses it because it's middle of nowhere. Sometimes these campgrounds don't have internet, or some do, some don't. So he uses Starlink and he loves it, right? Loves it. So, um, look, I'm not worried about the value of Tesla. This is something I think is going to just continue to push up, and we should all be just continuing to pay attention to it. Let's go now to HYMC. Let's see, HYMC. This is that this is that miner. They mine silver a lot. Is that correct? I think so. Parabolic move. It's gonna have a pullback. Look for it to fall back to $16. I would not be getting into this now. We did have what I love about this. You can see Extreme Market Energy gave us the buy on the move right before it went parabolic. And now we're looking at the downside of that, right? The pullback side. So just look at that. SMR, yep, we can take a look at that. SMR, again, had a nice little pop up on SMR, really looking for this surge to begin back up. I can foresee this coming back into, even if it comes back into 23 to 40, 30, 40 in that range is where I'm looking for SMR as well. You can use nukes as just an ETF for nuclear energy. I prefer OKLO and SMR. Those are my two that I'm in. I'm in those. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to buy them. I bought them, I think in like the 80s or 90 price point, and I'm looking at 77. I might pick a little bit more up. I'm actually just waiting for Hedge Fund Trader to give me a blue dot to buy, or an Extreme Market Energy sign as well. That's what I'm really looking for my next buy. We can look at nukes really quickly as well. Renaissance ETF on the nuclear energy space. We have a gap here at 72 for nukes, so 66 to 72 is phenomenal as well. Let's get into a couple others. Micron, MU. Micron continues to surge up. It has just been, hey, it's the continuation of the story. Now, let me say this, and I say this knowing, okay, I am talking not now. I am talking in the future. I am talking not now. I am talking in the future. Everybody heard me say that twice, right? Type in yes if you heard that statement, yes or no. Okay. One of the things that I want you to do is right now is still a great opportunity to enter in these manufacturers of hardware. You see, everything technology-wise has always been hardware, then software. Hardware, then software. And software out-earns, outpaces, out-grows, and sticks around longer than all hardware. And so even the dot-com bubble, all of it throughout history, software, and I don't mean just like recent history, I'm talking all history. Okay. So the thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to look at these software companies as well and start building positions in them and not just the hardware. And then being cautious with hardware. Adding stops, if you've been in these for a number of years, move that stop up, lock in some of the profit, right? It's okay to sell. Deborah says picks and shovels. Yes, I love that, right? But there's picks and shovels, but then there's maps. A map is way cheaper to make, and you can charge, your margin on it is more. So your earning potential is more. So With this, right, just hold it, move those stops up. Don't be crazy and don't lose your shirt here, because eventually this tulip bubble, this parabolic movement, this Bitcoin at 17,000 is going to come down. Okay? It's going to come down. So one of the software companies I'm absolutely in love with is Google, right? The partnership with Apple is going to give them so much more usability and so much more data. Somebody said this last week, and I verified it. Yes, they manufacture their own chips now. Not TSMC, not MU, not SMC, not ABC, not PBS, MTV, right? None of them manufacture. Google manufactures Google's chips. The new TPU chip is manufactured by Google. And in order to use the new Google chip, it uses Google Cloud. So they get twice the income from somebody. It's a direct line. You don't have to go piecemeal a bunch of things together and try to negotiate 50 different contracts. It's one line. That's why Meta moved to them. Google's AI is the best AI. Claude outperformed it a little bit, but not by much. But the leap that it made just from switching to TPU chips, and that's in the first leap. You just wait. More versions are coming, more iterations are coming, and it's going to get better. Deborah, I hate to say it this way, any. I really do hate saying that, but I really do mean it. I think any price is a great price in Google if you're going to buy and hold. If you're waiting for like an optimal price, I think the next, we can get a price right in here at 298, that would be phenomenal. If we can get a price in here at 263, that would be great. The absolute game changer of a price would be 215. If we can get a 215 price on Google, I would say just buy and hold that. If this does fall down into the 289 range, wouldn't surprise me at all. But it also wouldn't surprise me that their next version of Gemini just massive. That's the other thing I need to share with you guys. Give me one quick second. I want to make sure I cover this before I leave here today, because it is copy. I'm gonna just text it to myself. Paste there. I meant to talk about this first, but list of companies laying off employees in January. Merry Christmas. So worker adjustment retraining notification. WARN Act requires employers give 60-day notice ahead of mass layoffs. Mass layoffs occur when at least 50 employees are laid off during a 30-day period, affecting 1/3 of the workforce, or when 500 employees of any company are laid off during a 30-day period, according to the organization Legal Aid and Work. There are more than 100 companies planning layoffs. And those layoffs, I think this article goes on to say, after it lists all 100 companies, I think it is a planned of, let's see, it's like 1 point something million people. So you have everything from Shell, Spirit Airlines, Verizon. Verizon just fired a bunch of people in December as well. Virgin, Wells Fargo, Panasonic, Palo Alto, McDonald's, Louis Vuitton, Illumia, Henkel's, FedEx, CoStar, Consolidation, Blue Cross Blue Shield of California, Augusta Sportswear like ABBVI, all sorts of companies. Amazon is in there as well. And we're going to see these massive, massive layoffs as well. Sandy, I'll say this. Let me just say this. There is absolutely nothing, right? Nothing like extreme market energy. There's absolutely nothing like it, right? If you haven't seen a presentation on it, you absolutely should. But well, it's weird. I was talking about suits earlier today, and look what ad they had. I mean, goodness gracious. Let's see. Next step for Google is AI, quantum, right? Which is Willow. So quantum, the Willow chip, right? And quantum, we talked about this. It's the only thing powerful enough to hack Bitcoin. It can hack every single person's bank account in the globe in 7 minutes. It has that level of compute power. It's like 1 point something septillion bits of data are able to go through in less than a minute. It is insane what Willow can do. The thing that has to happen before Willow really becomes adoptive and built properly is AGI. Once we have artificial general intelligence, then quantum computing companies are going to be through the roof. But if you want to get into quantum computing beforehand, Google now. Google. GOOG. That's a stock. You won't regret me for holding it. Rigetti, right? That is a great, quantum computing stock. It's $23. Could it fall? Yes. Are they going to beat earnings? Probably not. Okay, let me just say it out loud because the tech isn't there yet, but it's coming, right? Let's see. Skynet is science fiction. Yes, Sandy, Skynet is science fiction, but it becomes science fact when Starlink was created. Skynet was a global telecommunications system that ran from space to Earth. That's what Skynet was. And it controlled the robots and everything else. Right. Skynet was the company that had that, I should say. Heck, you want to hear something really insane? There is a book. I think this is it. A friend sent this to me in 1948. This is 1948. Werner von Braun wrote a science fiction novel describing a human colony on Mars led by somebody called Elon. The book is called Project Mars. And I mean, hey, hey, manifest destiny, I guess you'd say, right? I mean, goodness, right? Again, science fact to science fiction until it becomes fact. If Elon Musk lands on and colonizes Mars, who the hell knows? Did that book do the prediction, or did it just gets your brain will get warped thinking about it too much? Okay, let's get back to some stocks here. Pound yen. GBP, JPY. So pound yen daily time frame, still seeing extreme energy surge. I think the yen is going to. This is what I think with the Venezuela thing. I think we could see some people piling into the yen, but the yen carry trade is unwinding and is still unwinding. So is the yen still the safe haven currency? No. So this, I think, can still go up. Okay, just to be honest with you. Right, we have Japanese consumers' confidence. Their stock market is continuing higher. That means weaker currency. So if this breaks above this level of support, look for the yen to fall. Okay, let's go QQQ. QQQ, we are seeing a little bit of a reverse king's crown here, which is you have your left tip, center tip, right tip. And so I'm actually bullish this month. I'm on this. And I think that we could see the QQQ or the NASDAQ or the NQ to run up bullish for the month of January, and QQQ to get to 659.16. My outlook for the year on the S&P is I think we get to 7,200 this year. Um, yep, Jerry, that's what I said. Someone on Mars named Elon colonized Mars. He was the leader of the colony on Mars. That's the book. Isn't that crazy? So, would crypto be more affected by the yen carry trade, BTC and ETH? Not really because it's so global. The big thing on crypto is, I think, around tax loss harvesting, and then you got to think, because it's now opened up to the wider market and so many other companies are investing in it, it doesn't change their practices, right? So if people are holding too much of one asset and they have to rebalance, they sell off part of the assets. And then if people are at the end of the year, if they need to offset some gains with some losses, or if they need to offset some losses with some gains, they'll sell an asset. Most people don't offset losses with gains, but you get the picture, right? Let's see. Jerry, I believe in the US, right? I believe in the US. So we can take a look at Coinbase as well. Coinbase, MSTR, they're all going to follow Bitcoin. If you see Bitcoin rise, you bet your bottom dollar Coinbase is going to rise, right? We're still seeing extreme energy surge to the south on Coinbase. We have this bottom gap at 214. We're about, what, $12 away from hitting that. So I think that we will hit that. That is your current, actually, no, it's not. What fibs look like here. You have a right there, then here to here, and then that broke, but we got this one to there. De-extension reached. De-extension right here, 143, which is its low. I think that we sit, 212 or so, and then we'll start seeing a reverse there. Let's get into a couple of the others that we had. We did MU, we did TSM. Let's go ASTS. ASTS. This is that space company as well. I need to get more into the whole space thing. I just haven't seen I just don't see, there's not a lot of profit in it yet. So there's a lot of headlines which can drive markets, but not as much profit. And I'm a profitable company investor is what I like to invest in. Like, I never bought Uber, to much people's like dismay. It's just, hey, I like making companies that make money. Let's see, or have at least the plan to make money, right? So 112.45 is where the de-extension is on this. We will see what continues on with ASTS. Commercialization, investments, Bluebird satellite, right? Are we going to get cell phone satellite service through them? Hopefully. I saw that Elon is lowering his satellites to a new level. So that's the other thing I think that'll eventually happen is, I don't know if you guys know this, but so every cell phone company, there's only a finite amount of bandwidth at certain levels in the atmosphere. And so they will lease space to them on that spectrum, whatever spectrum they need to, and from each other. So perhaps we'll see certain satellites will fly at certain levels, and maybe Starlink flies at this many feet and this person flies at this many feet. But if there's a spot that's not covered, then Starlink can play ASTS for their software kind of deal, right? Who can lease space? Who owns space? The people that have the rights to the air. Like, Jerry, you grew up in New York City. you know, if you, I hope you knew that if you have a high rise, like you can only build to certain height, but you have the air right. The person who owns the building has the air rights to go vertical. They can lease their air rights or sell their air rights to another building. That's how we get like, One World Tower and the Time Warner building and stuff like that now. Right. So that's it. That's who owns it. So it's very similar, right? Very similar. Let's take a look at Apple real quick. And then I am going to run here, AAPL, in a second. So Apple, we are seeing kind of look, here's what the big concern, the thing that Apple has to get right is they got to release a good version of some sort of AI software in their phone. If it's Google, it needs to be good. If it ain't good, Apple's going to fall. I'm just going to let you know that now. Right. So I think their earnings are going to be beats because I think a lot of people ended up with this phone. We're seeing sellouts in phones and stuff like that again. So I think a lot of people ended up upgrading. And this next cycle, when they release the foldable phone this September, I think that is going to be a big driver of them. But we may see a down year up until September, up until they release AI, up until they get this thing right. As they're turning over, C-suite level individuals, and maybe we see Tim Cook depart as well, right? We don't know. Now, with that, guys, again, want to remind you, we're not going to have a session next week. I will be having webinars this week, and I'll be sharing those with you via the Discord channel if you'd like to come as well. And look, I appreciate you all for being here. Again, just want to let you know, if you want to have that one-on-one with me to discuss how we can optimize or potentially better your retirement so you can avoid hefty taxes, avoid losses, and avoid all of the heartache that I see so many individuals go through day in and day out, I'd love to meet with you. Simply just type in a me. I'll screenshot it and I'll reach out, but I have to run. I am late for another meeting. So I thank you guys as well. I really, really appreciate you all and all of the well wishes. Thank you so much. See you guys very, very soon. Sandy, I am, and I like the intraday, and I've used it all actually, the whole thing. This is that dashboard. This is what found me the gold and silver trades for today, and then stocks. I can look and say, Boeing. This is what found it. Cisco found it. Target found it. TLT found it. All right. So, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.